All right, welcome back to another episode of Real Estate First Technology, and we're excited to have you today as today's guest is going to be someone behind a pretty large YouTube channel, and if you were paying attention, I was swiping on the screen, you might have saw some stuff. Super excited to have you with us today. We want to encourage you to like the episode, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and it is our intention for you to take things from these episodes to apply to your business so you can have more massive success. So let's first and foremost bring in our co-host, Mr. Dan Gandy. What's up, Dan?
What's up, guys? Glad to be here.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Good luck. I know behind the scenes, if you don't even know, Dan's going through himself right now with some rebranding opportunities for his stuff. So I'm not going to say too much because I don't know how much Dan wants to put out there. Yeah. But stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we're working hard. That's for sure.
Working hard and changing things up. So let's go ahead and kick off this episode so we can bring in our special guest today. Welcome to a new episode of Real Estate First Technology, your number one resource to get the inside scoop from top performing real estate professionals. How are they growing their business utilizing technology in today's market? Hear also from top performing coaches that can help and serve you in your real estate business, and also technology providers. Let's go deeper with these technology providers to ask them how they got where they're at today and how maybe their services could better serve your real estate business. A big shout out to Liftoff Agent for sponsoring our podcast. Go ahead and go to liftoffagent.com to learn about their marketing and positioning services to help scale your real estate business. If you haven't already done so, like the episode, subscribe. We want you to comment on YouTube what you learned from the episode and give us a review if you're going to be listening and streaming this podcast. Thank you so much. We appreciate you and enjoy this week's podcast of Real Estate First Technology. All right, welcome back, Dan, and everyone who's viewing and watching today. So you might have heard of the YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel is as such. I'm going to put it behind me, which is moving to Hawaii. So we actually have the man behind this channel and also behind his new podcast. It looks like his Instagram. This is really cool. It's called Hi, I'm Kenji, and this is where I focus on walking the walk and just posting, and join him on his journey. Welcome to 100 Bad Videos. What's that about, bro? You're just like film the videos and they might be bad at the beginning and they'll get better over time, or what?
Bro, you know what's crazy is I started this 100 Bad Videos journey well after 15 years of making videos, literally after making thousands of videos.
Wow.
My message is simple. It's just create, post, forget the polish, all of that. You know, as I was telling you earlier, I brought my camera gear, lights and all that for this. And I was like, I just got to get in front of the camera. Just post it. Post it. And you know what, that rings true, not just across YouTube, Instagram. I mean, right now, people just want this connection. That's what that whole message is behind that. Just post it.
Yeah. No, I love that, man. I love that. I think the biggest thing for me is like people sometimes when it is really polished kind of get like hyper inflated and then there's like this like celebrity type of like, it goes from like, this is a human to like, this is a celebrity. And then it's just like, you can't touch this almost like, and it's like, we all just want to connect. Like,
hey, end of the day, across all industries, I know we're like real estate tech, right? But across all industries, the best performing videos are the ones like taken with this device, you know, on a random moment, shaky camera, like bad audio, like those get the most views, those get the most traction. Yeah. And so I kind of leaning into that, coming from the very much polished realm of corporate business and all of that. And I'm like, you know what? One really dope video is not worth like 10 shaky videos that are every day. So, I mean, I know we're going to dive into this.
I love that.
The 100 is just more about consistency. Just show up.
Okay. Awesome. So, what do you think, Dan? Get into your story, Kenji. Tell us kind of where you came from to where you're at today, and how'd you got connected with Derek to where you're at with this new idea, man? Like, want to hear a little bit about
we first met, Norman, when you was over here in my neck of the woods, in the middle of the ocean, on a different island than this one.
I want to come back.
Come through, man. So I'm from Hawaii, born and raised in Hawaii. And then I left after high school. Like a couple months after graduating high school, I went, like many of us do here in Hawaii. We either go to the military or start working, or you go college. And my college was in the Pacific Northwest. I spent 5 years in Oregon. PSU, Portland State, and got homesick the first year, as you might expect. Someone coming from this. Actually, today kind of feels like Oregon. Actually, if you can see some of it was rainy, and that's actually where I started to like lift off, pun intended, because I left home. I left my comfort zone, and I was either sink or swim, and like that's where I really started expressing my creativity. And that's when I started making videos, photos. I actually started with doing non-legal activities with spray paint cans, and then that led into canvases, acrylics, that led into event organization, parties, as one in college does. So I really started being mindful of how media and messaging could affect groups. Although, be it in a college situation. But then I took that with me across the ocean when I went to Japan. I lived in Japan for 8 years.
Wow.
I was I was teaching English for the first 5 of those 8 years in the countryside in Shiga, Japan. Shout out to anyone who knows where that is. Um, and during that time, my creativity never stopped. I expressed it through language acquisition. So I did become very proficient in the language, reading, writing, speaking, listening. And that's a whole nother podcast. But I think it's relative to what we're talking about again with messaging, communication, and how it affects groups of people. And so whether I'm standing in front of a class full of, elementary kids speaking a language they're not familiar with, or speaking their language, or creating media as part of my job, right? I could make my own curriculum. So I would incorporate photos and videos. Here we are, Kenji, using this medium to communicate to a certain group of people, right? And albeit in an educational setting, which comes into play with YouTube. And then from there, I said I want to stay in this country, but I don't want to teach English anymore. You hit the ceiling kind of early if you're an assistant language teacher in Japan. I'm sure we all know somebody who was an assistant language teacher in some foreign country. In Japan, the Ministry of Education is very top down. This is what you teach, and you got a little wiggle room when it comes to curriculum and activities, but you kind of hit the ceiling. After my third Halloween lesson, I'm like, this is whack. You know what I mean? At year 3, I was already like, I hit the ceiling, but I want to stay. So how am I going to squeeze the most out of this experience? And that's when I started going heavy in. I got my first Michael Four Thirds camera, GH2 back then. It was a Panasonic GH2.
Love it.
And, my environment was such that I still had the novelty factor where things are new to me. And so, as one does in another
we lose him?
world. So that was my home base, but I went around the world with my camera, bringing those stories back to deliver to these kids in the country. And so that repeated process over those years really helped my communication skills. Because I'm not only communicating to a different country or a different language, there's a language barrier, there's a cultural barrier, and there's even a generational barrier, right?
Yeah.
So, because if you're 5 years old, you grew up in this countryside, and then this guy shows up with a video about, his experience in South Africa at the World Cup. There's a lot of things to unpack there. And so, I really started using this medium as a form of communication there.
Wow.
Then I got into doing it. I'm like, okay, I got to stop teaching English, but I want to stay in Japan. So I got to make money. What am I good at? Is video. All right, whose message can I communicate? And I looked around. And I started doing weddings. I started doing like little commercials, like music videos. Like every videographer kind of does these things. It's kind of like how we cut our teeth.
Yeah.
Anybody and everybody. What do you need? I got you. What do you need? I got you. But I just did that in Japan. And so it was kind of like a hyper, really, like, what do you call it? Expedited, or it's almost like summer school where you pack it in to one summer, the whole year's worth, 2 semesters, 3 trimesters worth in like 10 weeks. It felt like that for like 3 years, because it's like not only in another country, in another language, but I'm dealing with international people. Anybody who's been in Japan for more than 2 weeks knows how homogenous that country is. So any foreigner is like automatic. You know how black dudes see each other on the street and be like, "Oh," you know what I mean? I do that with anybody who's not Japanese in Japan because we're
Wow.
all in the same 1%. Like there's 99% Japanese homogenous. So that 1% of us, we're in the same boat. Everybody, some French dude, what's up? You know what I mean? Like anybody, some Somalian over there, what's up? Like we're together. And so
Yeah.
within that unique experience, it's like, all right, I can help you too with my skill. What are you doing? Oh, turns out you're one of those. Like Japan's visa policies are back then, it's kind of weird, but like you either have to come in the country on a visa, like I did originally, but it expired. So now what am I here for legally? I don't want to be on a 90-day tourist visa. My options are I can put $50,000 in a bank and say I'm starting a business. Now I'm here on a business visa. So a lot of the people that I met who are like me, kind of in a limbo where we don't want to teach English anymore, but we want to stay here. The ones that could afford to be like, hey, I got 50K, I'm putting it in his bank account, and now I'm here in this country for another year legally under the pretense of I'm here to start a business. I couldn't do that. By the way, this is my brokey days.
Wow.
I was, I was, I look back like it was good, but I don't want to do it again. Like $40 a week was my budget for eating, and so
Wow.
like this is where I'm cutting my teeth. And so how am I monetizing my skill in this? It's an abundant country. And like there's abundance with my uniqueness of like I can speak Japanese, I can operate with the locals, but I'm also that bridge for the for the 1% of non-Japanese foreigners in this country doing business, trying to survive. So it was just this really cool environment
Yeah, interesting.
that really like that led into all the things that maybe you've mentioned at the beginning. YouTube, uh, business, just straight up survive. Like you eat what you catch, right? That whole, which is, I just went to the R4 and in Las Vegas with Derek, and I got to like rub shoulders with a lot of real estate agents, right? And I feel like yeah, there's a lot of that attitude there where you eat what you catch. And so, I mean, I rambled on a bit. So
No,
you
you're
go ahead.
good.
I can keep going. I can keep going.
No, you're good, man. You're good. I think that's awesome. I mean, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Almost like very rich in culture and different opportunities that took you to where you're at today. And I had no idea all those things behind you outside of the fact that I met you because of Derek and moving to Hawaii and that YouTube channel. And I'm sure people are like, now can be like, oh, okay, it's Kenji, and like this is his story, and that's what we do here in Real Estate First Tech is go deeper, so you can really understand, behind the person, behind the brand, and how all that works out. So that's really cool. And then, how did you and Derek get like connected, and now turn that YouTube channel into what it is?
Yeah. So Derek and I went to the same high school, right? In Eva Beach, Hawaii, 76 South. I could start doing like gang signs and stuff. But well, as you can imagine, we live on an island, so the sense of community is very strong, especially with high school. So someone brought it up to me like, wow, you guys, the way I see Hawaii people, like their relationship with high school friends is different. Like I heard this in Oregon, I heard this in Japan, I heard this, and it's true. So if you went to high school with someone, a lot of times there was that post high school connection still. And that's what we both experienced when I came back from Japan. And our paths take us wherever it goes. But then we were back in Hawaii, raising our own family. And this is home base, right?
Yeah.
And so eating some, I don't know what we were eating, but we had lunch. And he's like, yo, man, I got into real estate. You're back home. Your video, I can see that. Let's join powers. And he's like, let's make this YouTube channel. And at that time, I was like, I didn't see YouTube in any other way versus like I came from like Vimeo. I don't know if you know Vimeo.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I already had like a couple YouTube channels that I just treated like a repository slash portfolio
Mm-hmm.
slash. Let me just share this video I made of me like cutting up a deer in the countryside of Japan, which you guys in Portland or in Hawaii, right? But I didn't think of it like, all right, let's use it the way you see it now with moving to Hawaii, for example. In the
Mm-hmm.
beginning stage, it was very much so like, all right, let's just do it, right? Two homies that like reunited at home and then just said, you got this skill, I got this skill, let's do that. Kind of blindly too, right? Because
Yeah.
there so when he brought up that like the idea of YouTube real estate, obviously I dig in. I go on YouTube, I check out who's there, who's the players, what are they doing, where's the bar, and bringing in my experience of communication with specific audiences through a medium that is video. I looked at it that way, and I was like, "Oh, bet like this light work. Let's do it." And then here we are, whatever, 2 something years later, right? That's kind of the basic. We started doing like neighborhood tours, and the first time we did it, it was very much. I think it was Eva Beach, where we're from. So it was really like kind of poetic in that sense. Two guys like reuniting, combining their skills.
Going back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we just started doing that over and over and over and over again.
Wow, that's awesome. I think what you guys are at now, like links are down below, 13,000 subs. Some of the videos have 100,000 plus views. And I mean, I know that I was just out in Kauai and a buddy of mine, shout out Greg, who will get on the show as well. And has an Inc. 5,000 company. And he was going to move out to Kauai and he found y'all's YouTube channel because of the search and the algorithms. And he's just like, yeah, I've heard of that before. Cause I was telling him that I was gonna be with you guys on the podcast. Shout out Derek, you viewers and listeners, watch that podcast. And yeah, y'all have done a phenomenal job with that.
It's interesting because I really think like YouTube is more like just like a playground. Like if you go to any playground right now, there's going to be a bunch of kids, right? Just having fun, doing a thing. There's going to be the kid who's like all by herself. There's going to be the kid who's like bossing other kids around. YouTube kind of feels like there's going to be the kids who are like, oh, let's play together. The collaboration aspect, the lone wolf aspect, the outlier aspect, the popular kid aspect is all there on YouTube too. And so I think that's kind of like a beautiful thing. Like we should have that variety and diversity. That makes the experience for the user, the audience, that much better. And that makes that much easier for the audience to like say, that's who I want to tune into. That's even if I get value from you, like, and you're not like my tribe, I can still take that in a way that's like that's cool on both ends. My view of you is helping you and your audience in your channel, and you're helping me, giving me something. But really, my tribe, it's just so easy to pick. I think the more variety we have, and I think the fact that we're representing like this tropical, some would say exotic place, we're on the little corner in the map. You know what I'm saying? Like we're kind of like the last state, the last star on the flag. Like that's us. So we kind of have that going for us. And then when we show up the way we do, it gives people like something else to like vibe with.
Yeah. Wow.
I think so many people are so used to searching, or if like they're searching YouTube content for Hawaii, it's all about tourism. It's all about, vacationing. And when somebody starts to think about like actually relocation or moving or buying real estate, I mean, it opens a whole different spectrum of perspective. And I think that's what I like. I've definitely taken a look at your stuff, and kudos to both of you guys for doing a great job with it. But I think that perspective is really the angle that I think attracts a lot of people, even if they're going to travel there. Like I'd rather watch your stuff than these people that are like selling me on what resorts to go to or where to snorkel. Right?
Yeah.
Well, here's the timeless, like, I don't know if I want to say like, well, it's kind of a balance, right? Because there's a lot of people on YouTube with content on Hawaii who just ain't from Hawaii. Like, let's just straight up. And so people
that.
see through that, and there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that might help some audience members vibe with them more, because like, I'm like you, I'm a visitor, or my time is limited. I can count the years on one hand. Like, but the fact that we lean into the, like, it comes through. You know, these stories that we share, or I say on Moving to Hawaii, right? That Derek and Mahe, that, you know, these stories are legit.
Yeah.
And you can't fake the funk in that sense. Like, you can't make up experiences. I mean, we could go into a whole rabbit hole about AI, but the fact that you feel like you're talking to someone at a dinner table, like, that's the vibe you get, is just comes with the package. So this kind of, I know someone there effect happens. And on top of that, damn, I learned about the median average, median home price in this neighborhood, or the it's like the cherry on top is the real estate value, but really you feel like you have this relationship already with somebody who's there that I can like call. And that's I want to say, like, there's not too much effort on my end. I gotta like delineate here, because like, we don't write scripts, right? So
Yeah.
everything that Derek's saying, everything that Mahi is saying, everything that anyone on the channel is saying is authentic, is true to them. My job on the end of shooting and editing is just packaging that up in like a concise way for you to consume. And so I'll do it in ways that to me make sense, that I can help support the story that they're talking about, whether that be like moving this way. It's kind of like a dance. I say, I move this way a little bit, and they know to like keep looking at the camera. It's kind of like we're dancing, because I know maybe they've been on the same point. They're reiterating it. I know I'm only going to use one of those points in the editing bay. So now I'm just going to move like this. So they kind of move, and that gives us a little bit more of the scenery this way. Maybe it shows a little more of the house or more of the street, because I know I'm like editing while I'm shooting, but I'm not trying to interrupt the actual content that they're sharing. If they say something, one tip we have is like, say things like the word this, look at this, or this street, or this. If you hear that and you're just like doing the dishes and like playing a video, you'll kind of like, it'll prompt you to look, right? A little bit of an attention resetter. And then, so if I hear that, or maybe I can maybe prompt that by doing this, and then now they're going to do this way, and now they're going to be able to, something else is in the frame now. Oh yeah, this is where I blah, blah, blah. It's really like this dance unfolding in every video. And I think maybe that's probably why a lot of people connect.
No, that's huge. The viewers and listeners out there, definitely check out the Moving to Hawaii team YouTube channel. And I feel like if anyone out there wants to start a YouTube channel and potentially work with a videographer and someone that also can edit your videos, to find that synergy between someone you can work with, it almost sounds like you have this relationship that's just seamless. There's no conversation that needs to be had because of the way that you guys work together. And I like how you pointed out, like, the YouTube channel is 100% authentic. You guys are from there. Just like if you check out, like, say, like Dan's channel. I know Dan, you have your YouTube channel as well. And it's very much like, you could tell you're local, you live in Oregon, and, you know, it's very too much to you and to what you're doing and organic. So I think anyone out there who's listening should do the same for themselves, right? For their YouTube channels.
I think
sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, I think that like your audience that you're trying to attract, like everyone's got a YouTube channel for some reason or another. If it's ego, then it is what it is. But I think if it's for conversion, right, client acquisition, subscriber count, audience growth, demand gen, all of these good things that happen in marketing, I think that overall, being raw, being real, being yourself, like you said, no scripts needed, right? Like that, we're going to tell you exactly what's in this head, and it's going to be able to resonate with the audience. And I think that's the problem with a lot of the YouTube industry when it comes to real estate. It's very scripted. You can tell that a real estate coach or somebody in the real estate coaching industry gave them video topics to cover. And it's like the same old BS, just rinse and repeat. You can go from one market to the next market to the next market and see the exact same stuff. So I think that's what I
think that does guys like us a favor, because it makes us stick out even more. The more and more you script, the more and more you like McDonald's franchises joint, the more and more we're going to stick out. So, and that's the thing too. It's not like a mutually exclusive thing where it's like, even if every single channel in the YouTube space right now just said, turn off the script, turn on the quote unquote authenticity, I don't feel threatened at all. It would just make the whole real estate YouTube game elevate.
Yeah.
And more people would be like, damn, like looking at real estate as the go-to.
Yeah.
Let me educate myself on any relocation. And then I can find my tribe in my place that I'm going to.
Yeah.
And that one of my initial, like when we started and I'm looking on who's in the landscape, right? Yeah, it came out to me like, oh, this is very much a formula. And I think formulas are good, recipes are good, like schedules and consistency is good.
Yeah.
But not like cookie cutter good. You know what I mean? So finding that balance, it takes time. A lot of some of the feedback we got this last convention included, well, how can we duplicate something that's so specific to you and Derek? Right? Is it even duplicatable?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, okay. I honestly think, or I know, I'll say with confidence, like it's duplicatable, but don't do it. Don't try to be us though. Like you can do it in your way, like follow the same principles that we are, and you're gonna create something even better, maybe.
That's the authority that you want in the market, right? Like no one wants to like, fly into a market and then like get the same advice from the same type of person, right? They're looking for somebody that's like, hey, like I live here, I climb these mountains, I ski here, I eat here, I send my kids to school here, right? And those are unique perspectives that I think when you're trying to teach and coach and share how you've become successful with your YouTube channel, I always try to tell everybody, guys, it like starts up here. Like if you don't self-educate, if you don't think about what people want and what people want to connect with you on, it's going to be a dead end street in terms of your creativity and your attraction, right?
People ain't stupid, people know, they can see through it. And when you fake it, which, all right, so my whole like gateway into real estate is basically a high school friend of mine, right? So I'm biased. I know him. I know stories we'll never share type of thing. Like, but now that I see everyone, his colleagues in this field, I'm like, oh, okay. I see how the stereotypical real estate agent, very, very polished, tie, like presented, like if makeup, what, like your headshot, right? The thing you'd expect to see on a sign outside a house, like that. I see how that's the traditional route and how what we're doing with YouTube and a lot of us at large are doing is so disruptive. That's why it's so effective.
Yeah, agreed. And I think that one thing that comes up for me, and a lot of times people could think about with anyone who's viewing and listening when they start a YouTube channel, is a YouTube channel could be a database for information. So if it's buyer specific information, seller specific information, here's my recommended stager, recommended painter, recommended lender, whatever it is, because I know even Dan on his channel was starting to interview a lot of his vendors. So it's like
got one tomorrow.
Right? Let's talk about more to share. And it's like, if I'm going to tell someone who's viewing and listening right now, and if I was a real estate agent, which I'm not, and I was like, hey, I want to help you with this house and so on and so forth, here's the resources, all the things, I would like to direct them somewhere, like a YouTube channel, a website, a link. Here's all the resources I want you to watch. I want you to digest, and then we'll then talk about that. And I feel like that's a good thing about YouTube and video and just leveraging your past efforts, because it's like you don't have to keep repeating yourself.
I was going to say this because I know we got to round it out here because we have 1 at 1, but I had a client that hit us up about new construction. I get this like, it's in Oregon. Yeah, I mean, you lived in Oregon. Tons of people want to like move here, and they think like land is like cheap and they can just build these houses and everything is going to be great. And there's a process like zoning, zoning, like feasibility, wells, septic, like all of this stuff that goes into building new construction. And I got a call, and this lady was like, yeah, I just want to do this and this and this. And I was like, I'm going to send you a video. It's on my YouTube. It's like 20 minutes of me talking all about new construction. And my lender just followed up with me yesterday after he connected with her. And he was like, dude, that video you sent her like sealed the deal. Like, she was talking to 3 or 4 other real estate agents. She's like, she listened to your entire video about new construction. She's like, told me, she's like, if he wouldn't have sent that video, like I was still on the fence of like who I would choose. But the video was like the authority, like the expert, like it was done. There is no other option. So you can use it in your business. Why not?
I mean, if I liken a YouTube channel today, and what is it, 2023, to like a website 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have one, what are you doing? It doesn't matter what you. Why aren't you creating clones of yourself? You're already answering the question every time you pick up the phone. Make a video answering that question, and now you've leveraged your time to create and build more things.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't make any sense to me how. I'm sorry. Like, there's people like looking at me around like, this guy talking that he's biased. I am because I've experienced it, and I know how powerful YouTube is as a business tool. So,
agreed.
Props to you, Dan. Props to your like channel. Like, we are all living it now, and I'm sure your audience, Norman, Dan, like they know what's up.
Yeah, and that's why I went in this direction. You know, it's like we said, okay, like we see what's happening in the marketplace. We see that Instagram, TikTok, a lot of the social platforms are very saturated. And I feel like the biggest thing is it's a 3-second scroll. And nowadays it's like, if you're going to relocate, or you're like my wife and I from California to Arizona, we went on YouTube, went on Google first, then went to YouTube, found a guy who just had an iPhone who was just showing the area. And I wanted to not have to book a flight. I didn't want to have to book a hotel. I didn't want to have to drive around myself. I just wanted to use technology and Google and YouTube. And this time's 2020, it's COVID. I didn't have time to I couldn't do all that. I had to do what I had to do. And so that's why we're like, hey, man, we have to do a segment on YouTube. And you're kind of a wild card today, Kenji, which is cool because you're a backseat, like giving us a different perspective, because like our next guest is going to be someone who has a YouTube channel and what have you on the front end, like Derek, who we've had on the show as well. But it's great to have like a creative director on who's doing the editing, who's doing the filming, who sees the shots and can call them for what it is. So anyone who's viewing and listening, like, this is good shit.
Good stuff.
You know, like it's just a beginning. Because even though I say, oh, I've been literally making videos for 15 years.
Yeah.
So I've kind of been around in that sense, but I still feel like a beginner.
Yeah.
So
Always learning, right?
Everyone should, that humility factor. Maybe it's just because I'm Japanese. I was living in Japan, but like, it's true. When you always give yourself room to grow, then you're always kind of like, you're always listening. You're always looking out for things to pick up and then iterate on. And that's how you separate yourself from the pack. You're going to be learning, and you never kind of put yourself on a pedestal and say, I've arrived. We have very much not arrived. And that's why that's why you see other iterations of things. Like 100 Bad Videos is just my own. This is me being an open book.
Yeah.
To kind of everything that I'm touching. And creators, my audience there is creators, right? People like myself, but also people who just started. That's I mean, another good thing about YouTube is like you can leverage other people's experiences because people are putting it out there for you. Don't make the mistakes I did, type of thing. So,
I love that. That's huge. No, that's great. And I know we're getting close to the end of the show here, and we love to just, if there's anyone out there that's like wanting to start a YouTube channel, has a YouTube channel, not having success, they need some tips, they need some help, some suggestions. You've already hit on a lot of gold nuggets throughout the whole episode that I think they can go back to. One thing for me is like, be authentic, right? Be truly you. What would you say, Kenji, to our viewers and listeners as we close out for some advice?
Do not treat social media like a portfolio. Don't.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. One, you're going to waste too much time perfecting it. And when you release it, it's only going to be relevant for 2 seconds. And you'll be like, I wasted 2 weeks making that thing. Not make social media a portfolio. Let it be let it just be for you. Treat it like a journal. Treat it like a journal entry. You're not going into a journal entry thinking like editing and performance and like you just want to get it out. I think a lot of success that we find on socials is from people who are treating it like a journal. And now you're letting other people, you're letting your audience tune into your journal and your development. That's kind of how I treat it. I'm biased as someone who's like a participant in the educational space more so than the entertainment space. Treat it like a journal, and it's going to relieve the pressure of like performance. And then you're going to have so much actual real life results to look at, real life analytics and numbers to look at. That's way more valuable than like one nice thing that's out there that two friends liked. Yeah, just
Wow.
post it. Just post it.
I love that. And it makes sense, right? Start off simple. You don't need to be polished. Use your smartphone and document your day on stories. What are you up to? What are you doing? To then your client testimonials, to area specific content, and, adding value to the market that you're currently in. I mean, Kenji, this has been amazing, man. I definitely love this perspective and appreciate your time. And I'm very jealous because I need to come back. I'm already itching. I'm itching, bro.
Come to Oahu next time.
I will.
I mean, Kauai's dope, don't get me wrong, but yeah, anytime, man. Let me know. You too, Dan. Next time I'm in Oregon, I'll hit you up.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Let's go. So Kenji, thanks so much. Dan, always thanks for co-hosting.
Yeah. No, this has been awesome, guys. And great to meet you, Kenji.
All right.
Yeah. And thanks to all our viewers and listeners, as it is our intention for you to take things from an episode to apply to your business and have more massive success. If that was helpful, give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the notification bell, hit up Kenji. Links are down below. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, subscribe to Dan's YouTube channel, and we will see you all in the next one.